Good evening, everyone. So, what's the first thing you do after a major event, right? Whether it's the IPL final, a Cricket World Cup final, a political announcement or an event, or the speech that happened, budget speech that happened recently, right? You go online naturally. You check Twitter, you check Instagram, you see the memes, you see the expert takes, the outrage, the celebration, and it all happens instantly. But here's the problem: how do you make sense of all this noise? Hi, I'm Aditya, and I have my fellow product manager Vijay with me here today. Hi, Vijay.
Hi, Adi. Uh, hi. Uh, sorry.
Keep
Okay.
going. Hi, Vijay. We have Vijay with us here today.
Hi, Adi. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Uh, Social media is a very interesting world, right? It has an opinion about anything that can happen in popular culture, in news, um, usually worldly events, right? Uh, Brands have an innate need to understand things that are happening around them, and many brands today are lifestyle brands or brands that they have space in news, they have space in culture. For such brands, it's naturally interesting for the brand managers there and the agencies there to listen to all the cultural trends that moves around that brand too. So to uncover that, technology has come a long way. And one such technology that we want to showcase today is the command center. Command center is a physical installation that can happen in a brand's headquarters, where you can have large screens that shows you what's happening around a brand at any given point of time. This is typically used when you want to launch a product, because most buzz is created then. You want to do it in not so pleasant moments of any crisis, so that you know that you're on top of all the communications that are inbound to you at that moment, and see what are the leading opinion shapers or opinion leaders are talking about the same subject, right? So this is a very helpful installation, and we want to take you guys on a tour to see how this works on a recent event, which is not brand specific, but about the union budget 2025. There's been a lot of conversations around it. I'm sure you've heard a lot. Let's try to uncover what did India social media talk about it during the last 1 week. Over to you.
Sure. So, I think let's start by setting the context and understanding just the sheer volume of conversations that came in. Right. Let me do that by sharing my screen here. Yeah. So this is what we call the heartbeat screen, and this is basically your go-to guide to know the pulse of your audience. Again, we're doing this for the union budget, and you can see here over a period of 7 days, since just before the start of the budget till now, we've had over 186,000 conversations just around budget, and we can also see, from where these conversations are coming in, right? And we also have, you know, uh, what is the sentiment of all of these conversations that are coming in? Yeah. Over to you, Vijay. Like,
Yeah.
can you
So
break down for us?
sure. So again, this is the front page for the central screen for the command center, right? Typically used with a real time filter. For this demo, we are using the last 7 days because we wanted to show you the sheer volume of conversations that are happening. As you can see in the timeline, we can see that the it starts to go up from 31st and to second. A lot of the conversations are happening on those lines. We can even deep dive into what kind of time of the day, right? What time of the day on 1st of February was so popular, right? So we can see that here as well. So you are able to look at, like, starting from 10 until 2 p.m. there was a lot of conversations, right? The peak perhaps is 20, close to 20k conversations in an hour. This is when India Twitter was very active about one subject, right? So now coming to channel breakdown, Twitter is a place where public conversations mostly happen. There are key opinion makers, right, such as the prime minister and all the entire ministry. Everyone is there and they put out a content. A lot of the news today is first broken on Twitter and then on the news channel itself, right?
Yeah.
So the they there's a lot of conversation that they drive, right? And for all of those conversations there are supporters, then there are people who want to just voice their concerns, who wants to bring in a new narrative towards this, and then there's rest of us who perhaps will like a tweet because you relate to it, or retweet because you really believe in something, or you want to support a, you want to support a personality, you want to support a brand, you want to support a cause, right? So you do that. All of this, right, really becomes uh, the digital voice of a customer, and in this case it's digital voice of citizens of India expressing their views about the budget speech and all the new policies and the slab changes and whatnot. This one particular, as you may have heard in your WhatsApp groups, this is perhaps it's this budget
I would
was
say this is the most celebrated budget,
most, yeah,
and
most celebrated.
yet. So we're looking at conversations just on the budget day now. We filtered it down to the 1st of Feb, and you might think that this was a very well received budget, but you can see even despite that, there is a sizable chunk of conversations that are still negative. You can,
Yeah,
if you may be curious, okay, even after such a budget, like what can go wrong, you can further deep dive and like find out what are people actually talking about negatively here, right? So yeah, we have some Vijay, would you like to just
yeah.
react to what public is talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like general public is talking about this. There's a lot of people are still not happy with quite a few things. But let's filter to key voices that matters, especially from a whenever we are looking at a general public analysis of something, right? Always try to look at what are the key opinion leaders shaping it, because uh, usually people follow, right? So, and that's the usual direction of a trend. Right now when you look at what is this, right, people are talking about many people are talking about fiscal deficit, people are talking about uh, uh, government not doing enough, people are talking about favoritism from a state's perspective. Many things
Yeah.
are do come to light, right? But again, right, this in general, this budget is really very well received because you see the number of positive conversations, right? The negative conversations are there nonetheless, but right, it is again like as we go along we will look at other screens where we can see the concentration of the negative conversations are also something that we can bring out. Yeah. So uh, on, and also one more very important thing that we should also look at is whenever we look at a trend, you should also look at how many unique users are driving that trend. Right here, we're looking at about like 18K people driving 28K plus conversations, which are positive, right? So really, you can understand: is it democratic that everybody is negative, or is it just few people negative but many times negative? Right?
Yeah.
These are something uh, you can actually look out for to make such analysis.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this also you can also use this to identify outliers when we hear about a lot of uh, people or parties employing IT cells, so to speak, on social channels to like spread their propaganda and stuff. So if you can identify how many users are actually, like, if the number of users are less and there are a lot of conversations about it, you can you can identify that they're there to make noise and they're not actual genuine you know people who are trying to voice out their concerns. So this is another helpful use case to identify those sort of people. And yeah.
Yeah. Adi, this now we've spoken about the volume of the conversation and then general the first level of analysis of what just happened, and yeah, and maybe even like who is driving this conversation. But really, the crux of the matter is to understand when what is being spoken about the union budget, right? So for that we have another screen, where we break it down into multiple categories, right? So you on your screen now we can now see the distribution of the categories, right? People are uh, so the union budget, most of the conversations are driven around the new tax regime that has been introduced with this thing. People are talking about the taxation laws, right? Then you can also look at the another bulk of the conversation is about the infrastructure and other expenditure the government is making, the announcement of several projects, right? So though that is something that is bucketed, right? Likewise, it's bucketed in multiple such categories, right? Deep, like ability to deep down into any of this will uncover a lot more of that, right? Now
Yeah,
on top of it,
before we I think before we deep dive into any of this, like this also gives you a broader perspective into the number of areas in which the budget focused on, right? You would think, let's just looking at maybe WhatsApp forwards and social media messages, you might think that the budget is entirely about tax, and oh, everyone is happy because there's no income tax below 12 lakh per annum. But when you see this complete picture, you would understand that it's not just about that. Yeah, like there are a lot of other areas that the government needs to focus on, and we have reactions for each of these categories, not just tax, which might look dominant. Like you can see, tax is the most dominant category here, but there are sizable conversations happening in other areas as well, which influences the overall public sentiment.
yeah. And naturally so, Aditya, because right, uh, Twitter reacts to what matters to the public, and
The public,
naturally
yeah,
it matters. But yes, rightly said, there are so many things that were planned out in the budget. So right, so yeah, as you can see, there has been a lot of push for technological investments as well, right?
yeah,
So there is a uh, there is about a considerable amount of investment the government is now making on the artificial intelligence front, and we're very excited about those kind of things because we firmly believe that the future lies really with the help of artificial intelligence. Like many things that we take more than a day to finish is really a minute's job, right? So and better
yeah. And
understanding
I
of
think
all of this. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think the government has promised some like 500 crores budget to the development of AI and AI models in India. And yeah, I think if we can just deep down or deep dive and see like what people are actually talking about in the technology section of the budget. So yeah, I think here we can see like
yeah,
India is ready to fight Chat GPT and DeepSeek. Like,
yeah,
yeah, India is finally entering the league of AI. And yeah, while there are some criticisms as well that you know countries like the US have committed a much higher budget, but I think it's a start. So like the government has acknowledged the importance of AI and allocated a budget for it, which was I think, if I'm not wrong, not there in our previous budgets. Like we didn't explicitly call out AI investments and all of that, right?
yeah.
So yeah, we
All
can
right.
also look at, so like which section would you like to deep dive into next? Like we can just look at some of the reactions of people here.
Yeah.
I think since
So
tax is the most popular one, I think we can just see what uh, I think. So people were happy about tax. Let's try to look at what people were not happy about the
not
tax,
happy.
because I am also very curious about that. Like what people did not like about this new tax system, right? So
Yeah. So there is this
yeah,
yeah, there's this narrative of abolish income tax completely, right? A lot
yeah,
of such conversations are definitely there, right? So yeah, it's a very mixed reaction, right? So yeah, and especially when we look at key influencers, right? Like when we filter to influencer led conversation, I think we will get a lot more diverse viewpoints on this, right? So you can see tax cuts from middle class and other things, burning questions around certain things.
yeah. And I think with the tax cuts, people are also talking about that there'll be more disposable income for, the Gen Zs and the middle class for them to spend, and there'll be a related increase in consumption. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think those are the main topics around taxation. You mentioned that there is some retort about the government favoring Bihar, and we're surprised as to what might lead to it. Not the coalition government for sure, but yeah, I think are yeah, some people are defending it as well. Like, okay, now why are you targeting, like, when Bihar has got a good budget? And yeah,
yeah. No, the important matter for Locovus to actually talk about this is to really showcase how the technology can be used to break down such a conversation, right? Like as you can see, we are India is a united country with a lot of diversified opinions and views around everything, right? I think a software like this, right, is important to the softwares are very important, so that any establishment that is on social media can really identify what is the mood of their market, what is the mood of their audience, right? So that's the uh, key takeaway point with this, right? Now let's look at we now looked at what are people talking about. Let's Aditya, we can also look at who are the key opinion leaders, who how is influence used in Twitter, right? The next screen we should look at is the influencer network screen. Influencer network screen is simply amazing because you can really identify beyond just popularity of one user or one opinion maker. You can really identify topic specific influences because your social listening happens based on a topic or a conversations around your brand, right? Now this is one of the way to analyze influence. Traditionally when we analyze influence, we look at engagement of one person. We typically do not uh, take an angle of analysis, like who's getting influenced, right? The audience of these people, right? We really do not always look beyond the numbers of number of engagement and other things. Now this really breaks that clutter and gives you a third door approach to look at the key opinion leaders and their followers and how often do they engage with them, right? So here our social listening topic is union budget. So we are able to see what kind of uh, people are driving conversations on these subjects. We can typically see the popular news outlets because they were live tweeting about this all throughout the speech, and they have a lot of stories following up to the event and stories after the event where they were able to catch key people's outlook towards that and their reaction towards that, right? So you have a lot of that and a lot of ministries talking about this, a lot of even political figures and political parties either supporting it or having another commentary of what could have been better, right? Now what we can do is we can look at one such influencer, right? So let's look at PM and see how what kind of people interact with PM Modi's one particular tweet that we are trying to look at, right? So you can actually like have us understand the sphere of influence that PM Modi is able to create. Right, this is like a sampling of a few of the people who have retweeted PMO. This is this thing. Now let's look at another angle, right? Let's look at the amplifiers of these messages, right? We can identify somebody who has retweeted from multiple people. That's right now we can look at it from the blue lines that we are able to see, right? So these are those people that have shown amplification across multiple different opinion leaders, right? So yeah, now we're looking at one such a person. So here uh, you can see this person has mostly retweeted news, right? News that were um, neutral in nature. Likewise, you can find out many such connecting nodes, right? So in a brand scenario, you can identify if there is any crisis. You can really identify, are there just few people who are driving this conversation against you, and using this, that you can really uncover how those people are connected. Do they always retweet anything somebody tweets, or is it a diverse mixture of things? And also you can go a little bit step further. Is this Twitter account just made to retweet others, or is there original content
Yeah.
as well, right? So these are something that you can uncover. But whenever you are looking at a large topic or even a large brand, uh, uh, having these clusters defined for you, where the sphere of influence is from a key opinion leader, this is something which is very very helpful for you to look at. Again, we can apply a lot of filters to get to what where we want. In the interest of time, let's look at another screen, which is my favorite. It really plots the conversation that is coming perhaps all around the world, and see where is this happening, right? So presenting you the screen, we call it globe. So this basically zooms and pans and pinpoints the location where the tweet is coming from, right? Especially for the union budget conversation, you can see the distribution is coming from various capital cities of several states that we have, right? And you're able to understand that was it positive, was it negative, uh, uh, and what are they talking about, right? So there are quite a few conversations that are coming in from, let's say, Delhi, right? These are your central government handles, your key politicians, right? So most of their tweets are coming in from there. You're also looking at several state capitals, right? Hyderabad, Mumbai, many financial services, uh, and influencers in the same domain. You tend to see all of their conversations are coming in from Mumbai, right? The a few you can identify certain states and the capitals. Also talk about key topics that are important for them, right? For example, there could be a development project that is sanctioned, right, in, let's say, Bihar, in this thing, and Tamil Nadu. People are talking about how it is not been given its fair share, right? So many such things is something that you can look at it from right here. uh, how would a brand use this, right? Popular brands usually have their customers all around the country, and conversations, if they're tracking all of the conversations, you can see, right, on social currently, where are you most popular, where are you negatively most popular. Is it concentrated in certain places? And then it really kind of narrows down your remediation effort, right? So you're as a brand, right? Nobody will ever say that I'm okay with the bad customer experience, I'm okay with bad reputation. You would always want to fix it, but the first step is the directional step that you take to fix it is uh, it's it takes a time. It really takes time without technology for you to figure out the direction of that step, right? So this really helps, right? For example, we can also spot some of the conversations that are happening around the same keyword, right? Union budget, that
Across the globe. Yeah,
across the
right
globe.
from the US of it.
Yeah. So again, social listening will give you a lot of data. You can negate few of it using keywords and filters, right? So filters are your best friends to really mute your noise and focus on what matters, and really zoom out to look at what how popular is any given topic, right? So yeah, around that. So Adi, over to you.
Sure. So right, let's bring all of this together. Right, we analyze the budget buzz and everything that has happened over the last week about the budget. Right, but this isn't just about a budget, as we previously mentioned. Right, this is how brands. This is an opportunity for brands to monitor any major event. Right, a brand needs to know what are people saying. Is there a viral controversy? Maybe not happening around your brand, but in the same industry that you can take advantage of. What's going viral? Like, is there a crisis brewing for you? That's where having this social listening war room can be a real game changer, right? And again, crisis management is a huge use case. Like, let's say you're a consumer brand and there's a sudden surge in negative sentiment about your product, right? Like, there have been cases where brands have been hit with like boycott trends across Twitter, and without real time tracking, you'd find out maybe 3 or 4 hours late, and it has escalated to like thousands of people. And it's too late. But with Locobus and having this command center and war room set up, you spot it as it happens, understand what's driving it, and maybe mitigate that before it spirals out of control. Right, Vijay, would you like to share our experience with brands, how they've been utilizing our command center, so to speak?
No, sure. It's actually I've seen it firsthand, and that's when us like, we at Locobus we truly believe that command center is that one investment that you do to bring customer centricity from policy to practice, right? So because the live customer data in front of you on large screens is hard to ignore, and the deep categorization, as I highlighted previously, this gives you a directional nudge for you to say take your first step, take your next step towards this direction. This is what is happening, this is where your attention needs to go, right? In social listening is basically a radar for any brand to identify threats that and actually like it's an early warning system, right? For you to identify and then mitigate if there are any risk. We work with we've been privileged to work with a lot of leading brands in the country across telecom, retail, hospitality, banking, right? Where the volume of conversation is 10,000 plus every day, right? Now, among the 10,000
Yeah.
conversation, uh, how like how can you make sense of it, right? Yes, you have a weekly report, yes, you have a monthly report where this 10,000 is a mere count in your 1.5 lakh mentions a month, right? So but in a command center installation, you are now looking at like, hey, what is what's the customer sentiment at this point in time in the last 1 hour, all the conversation, because there's the speed and the scale of social is a little bit different, right? So and you are able to identify for every reaction for everything that you can put out and what is the audience reaction, be it campaign analytics, be it uh, share of voice, right? So we work with airline companies where command center is not just streaming in their data but also public data about their competition to understand uh, where's the how are they handling something, right? Because flight delays and other things are it's not usually it's not because of an airline's policy or an
Fault.
airline's
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah.
It could be weather, it could be, and it could be at the airport congestion and other things, and most airlines also are affected, and you're able to look at what's happening for them, what's happening for us, right? And it really uncovers a lot of layers of data, right? So the interpretation of the expert comes very handy, and with that interpretation really nudging right team to take action, right? So command center is the starting place for you to do anything big or anything small, right? So that's the kind of the work that we have seen with our customers, and what we would love to show you a demo if you feel like your brand needs something like this, right? So we're happy to take you through a demo, right? You can actually always reach us out at sales@locobus.com or visit our website and book a demo slot. We'll be happy to give you a demo. Over to you, Adi.
Okay. Thanks, Vijay, for sharing that with us. This was really insightful. So, if you're watching this and wondering how can your brand leverage this kind of intelligence, reach out to us. Let's talk. As Vijay mentioned, we'll be happy to schedule a demo for you. Uh, that's it from our webinar today. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Until then, let's keep shaping experiences one interaction at a time. Thanks.